Listening to content at 2.9 times speed has changed my life in the number of books I read and in the classroom. In this video, I'll talk about why I think it would change yours too. First, gonna talk about the benefits, the common criticisms of speed listening, and finally, how to get started. The first benefit is you can just listen to more stuff. Most people speak at a speed of 150 words per minute. Interestingly, the average person can listen at 300 words per minute. This means we're consuming things much slower than we're capable of doing so. Time is our most valuable asset. You can always earn more money, but you can't earn more time. Listening at 2.9 times allows me to reduce the time cost of reading a book. Instead of reading one book every week, I can read 2 or 3, which I just think is more fun. Some of the best books I've ever read, like How to Take Smart Notes, Make It Stick, Atomic Habits, Show Your Work, were all books that I listened to originally on Audible. Link in the description. I can't say that I would have been exposed or been able to slog through some of these fantastic books if I had been listening at the normal speed. The second benefit is that speed listening allows us to figure out if a book is even worth reading. Most books are not worth your time, but it can be hard to know this before picking one up. By listening faster, you can quickly see if you're interested in a book. I find it hard to take notes from Audible books, so I buy the Audible version of a book to read during a car ride. If I like the book and want to digest it more thoroughly, I'll just buy it physically or on Kindle to give it a proper read through. Before having this habit, there would be times where I sat down to read a new book, excited as ever, only to realize my tragic mistake 2 hours later. I would then slam it on the ground in frustration. If I had just listened to it first, I would have come to that conclusion way earlier. The third benefit of speed listening goes away from books and comes to the classroom. I know a lot of students who claim that they are not auditory learners, but feel bad if they skip out on the lectures hosted by their professor. Because of this, they just slog through a 2-hour-long lecture video to ensure they don't miss anything crucial. But if you're not an auditory learner, you could just listen to the lecture at 2.5 times and quickly skim through it to make sure there's nothing crucial that you're missing. If you're saying that you don't learn as well from auditory learning, why not just go through the lectures super fast? This has saved me easily tens of hours at university. When I first went to Cornell, I went to every single lecture I had, even though I learned the material much faster on my own. That was before I discovered that some of the lectures were hosted online. As soon as that happened, I started blitzing through them at 3 times speed so I could do other things, like record these YouTube videos. Now, I do want to emphasize again that this is not a hard stuck rule. If there was a lecture that I'm genuinely excited for, something like a guest lecture, then I will definitely go physically and just enjoy it in the moment. I'm hoping that by now you're starting to understand why I think listening at faster speeds is so important. Now that we've talked about some of the main benefits of speed listening, let's move on to some of the common reasons that people stay at the 1 time speed. The big drawback that people claim is that you just don't enjoy books as much. However, after more than a year of speed listening, I can say that I enjoy books more now than ever before. Most books are honestly just a couple of key points or climaxes hit around a ton of supporting evidence or exposition. I like to speed listen because it lets me get through those parts with complete comprehension so I can get to the actually really good parts. Sometimes when I do get to the amazing climaxes, I like to go back down to 1.5 or 1 time speed so I can really savor the section. There's no rules. You can go down if you want to. Another thing people say is that life should be enjoyed slowly and you shouldn't try and speed it up. The main problem I have with this point is that most of the people who say it just haven't given speed listening an honest try. I tried to convince my dad, for instance, to adopt the habit by explaining how life-changing it was. The next time he listened to a podcast, he ramped it up straight to 2.5 and was dumbfounded when he couldn't understand a word they were saying. Now he always tells me how annoyed it makes him when he hears me listening to videos and podcasts at 3 times speed, and that I should just enjoy life. The thing is, if you've been listening at 1 time speed all of your life, of course it's going to be super challenging to adopt a higher speed. The ironic thing about this claim, however, is that everything in our society has gotten faster without us even realizing it. Nowadays, TikTok is the new big thing, with people staying on the average post for less than a second. If you watched a movie now and compared it to something like Gone with the Wind, you would be astounded at how much faster everything nowadays is. In a similar vein, if you're okay with running somewhere or going the speed limit while driving, then your argument against speed listening doesn't really make that much sense. If you genuinely wanted to enjoy life, you would never run or drive because you wouldn't be able to enjoy the scenery you were running by or driving by. Also, I bet if you took one of those people and then sat them in front of a television or movie from today at 0.75 or 0.5 times speed, they would be in agony. That's what it feels like for me to listen to things at 1 times. Luckily, if you are one of those people, or even if you aren't, it's not too late. You can still learn how to speed listen by doing so intelligently. I have a couple of tips for starting the habit that has changed my life. The most important thing to understand is that you have to start slow. This is because you've been listening to things at 1 times your entire life, and your brain needs to adapt to new speeds. Start at 1.2 or 1.3 times and work your way up from there. You want to be in the zone where you can still comprehend everything that's being said, but you're 10% uncomfortable. The idea is that we get our brain used to consuming at this speed with ease and then move up in slower intervals. Pretty soon, you can get up to 1.5, 2 times, and finally, once you're in the big leagues, you can join me and others at 2.5 or even 2.9 times. This doesn't just apply to lectures or books either. You can use this skill while watching YouTube videos, podcasts, or other content. One extension that I've been using forever is the Video Speed Controller app for Chrome. This extension lets me manually change the speed of any video on the desktop by 0.1 times by just clicking on the arrow keys. Check out my video on the most underrated tool for reading retention so you can learn how to remember the things from the book and content that you consume through listening or reading. As always, have a fantastic day and bye-bye.